Hello everybody, welcome to my studio in Ithaca, New York, the North Star Fine Art. It's our new gallery on the Commons, and I'm in the final stages of doing this landscape. It's a scene from Pennsylvania near Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania that I painted on many other occasions. It's kind of near Mehoopany, Pennsylvania, which is in Wyoming County, and I'm titling it Topography, Autumnal Topography, because it was depicts a scene in September. And this idea of topography is something that I've used for previous shows and exhibits. Once called it topography of urban topography. But come into the painting here and I'll explain some of the ideas. This painting in a way kind of is a good illustration of this concept here, because it uses the freshly mown fields. And there's also something else happening here. It's a what I call a zigzag design, and it's something that I've used in many of my other paintings. So the zigzag happens here. That the way that I'm conceiving of it is the eye coming in through these mown fields here back to this area, and I'm going to pause here a minute, because one of the things I was doing here as a last minute touch up was just adding a little bit of chroma to this barn, just because I thought it needed a little bit more intensity to bring it out a little bit more, because this is one of sort of the main actors in the opera, as it were. Okay, so back to the zigzag coming in this way, and then going up diagonally is the way that I'm conceiving of it, going up through these this succession of other farm buildings and houses, and then I see it going this way, continue with the zigzag with the contours of these mountains here, and then up to the clouds, and they kind of continue with this diagonal sweep here. And then there's another kind of direction here caused by these clouds going this way. So it's kind of an orchestration of clouds. And I wanted to mention the perspective here too. My eye level is right about here. And one of the ways that I can tell that is if you come in here closer to this area of light here, it's actually a pond over there. And the reason that we can tell that that's the eye level is because it's at an oblique angle. In other words, if I was down a little bit, you wouldn't be able to see it. So I'm slightly above this pond here that was catching just a little glint of light here. And one of the things that I was doing when you first saw me was I was pushing the darks in these shadow areas. And part of the reason for that is I want to have a succession of values with the darkest values in the foreground. And you can see this bank of trees back here. It's slightly less contrast and lighter value than this bank. And then we go back here and it gets even bluer. That's the sfumato aspect. But one of the inspirations for this kind of indirectly, if you come down here to my iPad, there's this wonderful painting by Jacob van Ruysdael, and it's in the Mauritshuis Museum in The Hague in the Netherlands. And I was just there in January sketching from this original. I didn't have this specifically in mind, but it must be subconsciously, because it has a lot of similarities to the painting that I'm working on here now. I love this light in the foreground. He's really orchestrated the light and pushing the darks, just like I was doing, to almost black in the other areas. And the painting is called The Bleaching Ground, and what's happening here is these large bolts of linen are being laid out. You can see the tiny figures here, but this has the zigzag effect too. It's coming in the same way that mine is, a little more extreme angle to these three houses. Then it goes back through here and then back to the church and then up to the clouds. And it's also similarly divided about 2/3 sky to 1/3 earth and landscape, which is the same as, are very similar to what I'm doing here with this one. And so Van Ruysdael, the 17th century Dutch painter, also has this idea of topography of light. And I'm just going to do one more final thing with the clouds here. If you come back into my palette here, Oh, I wanted to show you how I mix this dark color. It's a great way to get a really dark, subdued green. So I'm mixing alizarin crimson, that's that red color, with phthalo green, and it makes a very deep, dark, intense green. It's almost black, but it's a little bit richer than black because it has the green and the alizarin crimson. And so I'm deepening values, but I'm also articulating a little bit of the form here and then softening the edges. So kind of multitasking in a way. And one of the other last things I was doing was just putting some diagonal contours to show the topography of that. One other thing before I go to the clouds is I'm calling it topography of or autumnal topography, but the late afternoon light is helping to illustrate or bring out the contours of the mountains here. These mountains are not flat, but they have roundness, and you can see them being developed here by the late afternoon sunlight coming across here. So it's very much in the golden hour. Okay, so I'm going to come back here to my palette again, if you would. I'm going to mix up a warm light color here, and I'm doing that with just a little bit of Naples yellow added in, and just a touch of cadmium yellow deep. That's what that color is there. That may be a little bit too orange. So I just wanted to show you. So I invented the clouds. They were somewhat loosely based on a photo that I was using, but I elaborated on it. And one of the things that I did was this type of cloud here. So the main diagonal is going this way, but then we have another diagonal of clouds going this way. And so I'm just kind of going to roughly, it's a little bit too yellow. I want a little less gold in here. So just kind of lightly feather it on here to show these kind of rounded areas of clouds here. And if you come in close to this area, this is another area that I did it in. In other words, underneath it, it was kind of all flat, and then I developed built up the clouds kind of very softly and gently, kind of scumbling the highlights on to show that the sun is coming from the right. We always need to keep the light direction in mind when we're painting clouds. So we can learn a lot from those Dutch masters like Van Rysdale. He's a supreme landscapist. And if you look on my YouTube channel, it's the one immediately preceding this, and you can see me in the Moritz house sketching from that wonderful painting by Jacob van Rysdale. Okay, if you step back a little bit. So also, step back a little bit more. I have a wonderful new essay explaining in depth about the concept behind this painting. So look for that on my website. So there's a new one called North Star Fine Art Gallery.com, and then there's the North Star Art Gallery, and the blog is on both of those. And so my newest essay is called Topography of Light, and it explains in depth about this painting and other paintings that use that same idea. So you can come see the original here in Ithaca, New York at the North Star Fine Art. We're right on the Commons in downtown Ithaca, and come visit this painting and many others. Take a look over here before I sign off. Here's a couple other new ones. This one here is one that I just finished, a plein air painting from Tunkhannock. And I also have a YouTube clip of me painting right there on location above Tunkhannock from Avery Mountain, so you can see the motif behind me. And of course, this one here is a wonderful winter scene from Ithaca, New York. Okay, so this is my installment on the topography of light, and hope to see you here in Ithaca. Cheers.